Before we start adjusting colors, let me introduce to the color itself. Here is a color wheel. You can find many of them on the internet, and it shows all the colors our human eye can see in the nature. It starts from red through yellow, green, cyan, blue, and ends up with the last color on the rainbow, purple, violet color. Our color is three-dimensional because we see it through three different filters: red, green, and blue, which show this triangle. And all the colors on this wheel can be created by mixing these three colors in different value or amount. So if we look at the image, under the histogram, pointing on the image, we see the brightness of each of the channels, because the cameras are made to mimic human eye. It also, with certain degree of simplification, has three channels: red, green, and blue. We can certainly evaluate color seeing these numbers, and also we can manipulate directly the channels. I showed you earlier that tone curve has the access to single color channels, and we can make image more red, add in more red, or less red, but somehow less red doesn't become neutral, black and whitish. It becomes cyanish somehow. Why? Let's learn more about the color on the color wheel. So far I've done two simplifications here. First of all, our human eye and real vision doesn't work in a circle. The color doesn't work in a circle. Before red, there is infrared, not magenta. And after purple or violet, there is ultraviolet, not the magenta. The magenta color connects these two real colors to create the circle, an ideal shape to mix colors together in a digital world. When we go around the edge, we change so-called hue of the color. So when we say about the sky, for example, this sky here is bluer and this one is yellower, these are words from our language. If we would think in RGB model, we would have to say that this sky here is less red than this one. And if you look at the coordinates here, that's true. The difference between them is primarily red channel, 59 and 72. But no, we're speaking different language, and this language is called HSL. Hue, saturation, lightness. In this shape, remember our vision is three-dimensional, and there is some cut for you to pick inside. Only the middle circle looks like I showed you here, and that's a second simplification. This ideal circle shows us colors which our eye sees during the bright sunny day. When we go to the darkness, we almost see no colors, everything looks black. And if we look at the source of light, for example, a tungsten bulb is orange, but we see it white if we look at the bulb directly. So all the colors look white for us. So that's how it works. Hue is where we are going around the circle, changing tones of the color. The saturation is the amount of vibrance of the color itself. And when we go to the outside of the circle, it becomes more saturated. In the center, all the colors turns into neutral, or grayish one here, whitish here, and blackish here. So saturation is the intensity of color. And the lightness represents the amount of the light source on our object. This is the very bright condition, and this is the very dark condition. When we speak about saturation, we are saying bright colors, chemical colors, shouting colors. When we're talking about subtle colors, we are saying pastel, for example, or washed out colors. When we speak in the lightness terms, we are saying dark colors, light colors, washed out and dirty colors. Luckily for us, Lightroom also uses HSL as a main model. As you see here in HSL and in other places, there are these HSL coordinates. For example, in basic, there is white balance color temperature, and it uses a scale from blue to yellow. If you look on the colors on the color wheel, blue is the opposite of the yellow. That's how we run the entire range of colors. Same thing with green magenta. Green magenta is another scale. So with understanding that, you can proceed to working with color, remembering if you work with any of these coordinates, if you want to change the tonality of the color, that's hue. If you want to change the mood, bright color or subtle color, that's saturation. If you want to change the amount of light on the object, that's a luminance or luminosity. Okay, now let's start working with color.